So I've had a few guys recently who've told me that they think that Warsaw is a bit washed out with day gamers, guys running around like blue ass flies approaching girls in the street. And you know what I hear from ex-students, even from coaches actually, is, oh, you know, it's like London was. The girls like know what's about to happen. They've been approached a zillion times before I've approached them, and the place is just what's the word, swamped with guys just practicing their approaching skills and basically, you know, turning the female population off. In fact, probably every girl who's out there in the shopping centres or in the streets is like, I don't know, read some book or seen some feminist vlog and has decided that, you know, big stop sign, a big no entry sign when it comes to the minute a guy looks at them, they're like, the shutters are down, the bit shield is up, and basically they're wearing a big F off sticker on their foreheads as far as the male population of the world is concerned. And so you guys are thinking, a few guys here in Warsaw are thinking, oh, you know, how do I deal with that? It's getting my vibe down. And, you know, the weasels start to creep in, don't they? The weasel, once it's crept in, it then impacts your approach. Because if you're thinking that before you've even approached a girl, you're in danger of coming off exactly in the way that you feared. So I just wanted to do a little vlog to address this issue and to lay to rest this particular weasel. Give you some sort of golden nuggets of approaching knowledge so that you can basically, what you're doing if you're a beginner or you're an intermediate is a blast through the clouds, properly take off and get to cruising altitude in your dating and approaching lives. So the first thing to say is, you know, you have got to accept that you've got to go through a little bit of a rite of passage, a little bit of a baptism of fire. But you know what? Why not take a positive spin on the situation? You know, if you're actually thinking through how to deal with that kind of imagined fear, it's just an extra sort of social skill that you are having to learn. So be grateful for the universe for presenting you with that situation. I mean, if a girl says, oh, you're the 15th guy who's approached me today, you know, quip back. You know, are you one of those guys, she says, and you say, yeah, I'm part of the liberated male population of the world who's decided, you know, enough is enough. I'm not going to spend my evenings swiping all the way to the moon, being discarded by girls who really just using Tinder, you know, like attention whores, getting a buzz out of getting a zillion swipes right. I've done with that, and I'm now concluded that the way to find interesting girls whom I'm genuinely attracted to, you know, who don't post up studio type collections, catalogues of photos of a fancy imaginary life, because quite frankly any girl can, you know, look good if she's got a professional photographer. She should be able to look good with a professional photographer. You know, I want to meet the real female population out there. I want to get straight to the sort of girl that I'm interested in having a date with. And it just so happens that you might, if you play your cards right, you might just qualify, love. You know, bit of a big speech, but you get the vibe. You can start to think about, you know, yeah, you're the 83rd girl that I've approached so far today, ha ha. You can say, yeah, you know what, if I see an attractive girl these days, I'm done with the online marketplace. It's synthetic, it's not real. You don't really get to know the person behind the photograph. You know, to see someone I like, I approach them, strike up a conversation, and see where it goes. And I found you attractive and wanted to get to know you better. You know, and if you kind of address and you learn and you exercise the muscles, Tim Powers is very good at this. You can see it as sort of fresh terrain, like an off-piste skier, which is challenging, but you can spin to your advantage. You can capitalize on that false perception. And the other thing is, quite frankly, it is more of an imagined fear than a real fear. And if you don't approach them and find out, well, then you'll never know. You know, approach 200 girls and tell me that 75% of them have told you to F off because you're one of those approach guys. I'd be extremely surprised if you presented me with that data set. The other thing is, just get good at this stuff. Yeah? It's interesting, me and Tim Powers were talking about this the other week, and we're kind of bemused. But, you know, he approaches more often than I do these days, but I still do approach attractive girls. I just don't see it. I think it's some sort of projected idea that a guy puts on the world. I'm sure if you were kind of an innocent, unknowing bystander, you wouldn't kind of look at a shopping centre or a busy street and say, oh God, this place is teeming with day gamers. It's more of your own projection. But anyway, just simply get good at this stuff. Take the analogy of like golf or skiing. When I go skiing now, having not been a very good skier when I was younger and then got coaching from the right coach, a good Austrian coach, so, you know, I just spend my time on the chairlift and watch the skiers coming down. 75% of them don't know what they're doing. They're just getting down the mountain. Golf, which I've recently taken up, is something that I played when I was younger too for a couple of years. Gave it up because it was hopeless and I didn't think I could learn. And then I just stumbled onto the sport this summer. And it's been absolute Pandora's box of kind of skills-based knowledge. It's like practicing golf has helped me to start to understand the science of sports knowledge, which can be replicated and transposed to other areas of life. I think sport's a very good analogy for the skills of dating and approaching. Again, with golf, I go down the driving range and 75% of the people are practicing the wrong thing. You don't know what to say. Well, you don't say anything, do you? You don't want to be rude. You'd like to help and give advice and coaching, but if someone's not open to it, then well, there's kind of, you're only going to alienate them, aren't you? People, you know, for them, the penny is yet to drop. I was there when I was younger. It's interesting, old guys who've got that maturity of life and life experience are often pretty, you know, so much better at acquiring skills than their younger counterparts. So become good at it, because the reason that me and Tim don't kind of see this problem is because we have confidence that's acquired by practice and learning, and it just never becomes an issue for us. If you are genuinely good at something, there really won't be much of a problem. You really, I mean, a hand on heart, I don't think I've approached 4 girls in the last 3 weeks, so I've not got a big data set, as they say, but during my time approaching, I just haven't come across this problem. It's interesting, guys on the courses, during the courses don't come across this problem. It's only later on when they come back to Warsaw that the Weasel starts to work its weaselly way into their head and their thinking, and can dampen their spirits and enthusiasm. The other thing is, crush it, blast through it. Structure how you're going to do it, going out 3 times a day, and bite the bullet. Yeah, just bite the bullet. You're going to have to, you know, get to cruising altitudes. You're going to have to, it's a necessary evil, you're going to have to approach a bunch of girls in order to acquire the skills and to get confident so that you're good with women. So bite the bullet, basically. The other thing is, Be creative, be ingenious. When I was first in Warsaw, you're talking about 5, 6, 7 years ago now, I used to, take a break from work at 3 o'clock. I'd just take myself for a walk. I wouldn't necessarily approach everybody. And I would have little areas which I would frequent, a little shopping centre that's slightly offbeat, a street that I knew was popular, a few coffee shops that I'd dip into, a gallery at a time when the gallery was busy. Art galleries and those sorts of environments are often really great for opening up conversations. In the metro and the underground during rush hour at a certain point, I would just build into my day-to-day routine different areas around the city where it was propitious for me, and it became like a little mini adventure exploring the city as well. Don't just be going around doing circuits around a shopping centre for 3 hours, or if you are, go into the shops. There's a lot of guys who don't seem to want to go into shops to approach girls or coffee shops. Be good at that particular area. I've got a guy, because this obviously relates to a lot of cities where guys experience a similar problem, like London. I've got a chap who lives in London. He walks along the South Bank. He's a writer. He reads. He sees girls with books on the South Bank during the summer. Another chap who comes in from overseas here, he gets one of these little scooters, and he'll go around the parks, and it's a big city-wide street. You can meet a lot of girls that way. So start to make it your own, and create your own individual, unique style and your unique approach to acquiring the skills. Get some coaching, talk to coaches, talk to other buddies. There are various indoor locations, not just shopping centres. There's different times of the day. You might want to go out where it's a busy bar area on a Friday or Saturday night between 6 and 8:30. So hopefully that's given you a few ideas. Ultimately, the goal is, the process is the acquiring skills and being able to deal in a masculine and intelligent way with unusual social situations and to be able to master them. That's the focus. The girlfriend, the adventure, that'll take care of itself if you just become good at this stuff. And interestingly, and I'm going to vlog about this because of this apparent, Warsaw's full of day gamers problem, guys are sort of turning online again to Tinder and Bumble and whatever. Interestingly, it's the guys who have mastered the approach skills, the dating skills, who have the success on Tinder, because it's all very well getting a glossy shop window, and it will help to a point, but it's not, and it is important, sure, but it's not enough. Once you're on a date with a girl, you put someone who's really mastered approach skills, cold approach skills, next to someone who's just got a great Tinder profile on a date, and I tell you, 9 times out of 10, the chap who's acquired the approach skills will be far better. Finally, I dating a couple of girls at the moment. My hands are kind of full mentally anyway, and so I'm only approaching as and when I'm going about my normal day's day. You've heard me talk about this before. I really do think it's the Elysian fields of daytime approach, the paradise of the present, where you only approach girls as you're going about your day-to-day. Once you've got the basic skills down, what's the point in going out for sessions like you're going to the gym and only ever going to the shopping centre 3 times a day? Once you've acquired the skills and you've gone through that baptism of fire, start to apply the skills in your day-to-day. Like here I am at the gym, the coffee shop, after working out, and if I see an attractive girl, I'll be thinking, how do I open up a conversation with her? Because quite frankly, guys, you know, if you dedicate the next 5 or 10 years of going out 10 hours, 15 hours a week, what sort of a guy are you going to be in 10 years' time? Are you really going to be able to attract the sort of quality girl into your life that you dreamt of when you first got into this stuff? There's an opportunity cost of doing this stuff long term, and eventually you're also going to just get a bit jaded with just going out and doing it, because it is a bit odd. Eventually you're going to want to, well, why have I learnt this stuff? I've learnt this stuff to be able to approach that girl in the coffee queue. You know, I've spent 3 years learning this stuff, and I'm not going to open up a conversation while I'm in a queue about to get my latte. Why have you learnt this stuff? And then you'll discover it can be extremely spontaneous and natural, and you might get blown out, but you'll get blown out in a normal way. As often as not, it can be really cool because you're nervous and there's some energy about it. So, you know, that's where you want to be, and that's the ultimate antidote to this issue of feeling that the world is swimming in day gamers. Yeah, this false perception. I mean, there may be a lot of guys out there, but there's a false perception that in some way this is going to mean that you're not going to have success approaching girls and getting telephone numbers. Just finally, I mean, in terms of yours truly, I mentioned I've been out in the last I haven't been out in the last 3 weeks, that I do feel I'm now in a place where, blow my own trumpet for a moment, where I do approach naturally, daily approach as I'm going about my day-to-day. Girl in a coffee shop on a Sunday morning when I was doing my Polish homework, got the number, she didn't respond to my text. A girl I met, drinks when I was having drinks in a bar with a buddy on a Sunday afternoon, early evening, had a fantastic date with her, decided not to follow up. It wasn't quite a match, but it was a terrific date, and she was an attractive girl. A girl outside my local coffee shop where I work first thing in the morning. Got the number again, but a bit too young for me. I decided after I'd got the number I didn't follow up. And then a fourth one I met again in a coffee shop. Coffee shop's great. And we had a really good conversation. I sat down next to her, like, you know, in this sort of a situation, and got the number. I did follow up. She did respond, but I was busy with other dates, and I ended up not kind of really following through on it. Anyway, the point is that in 3 weeks I've approached 4 girls, and those are the only girls I've approached in the last 3 weeks, and got 4 telephone numbers. That's where you want to be. And it cost me, there was no real opportunity cost in time or energy in opening up those conversations and getting those telephone numbers. And indeed it helped me feel more confident in dealing with the girls that I'm dating and I'm more interested in, but it's still uncertain where it's going, so I'm still dating, you know. That's a really big benefit of learning this stuff and mastering this stuff, is it helps you stay cool-headed and be doing the right thing when you do find 1, 2, or perhaps 3 girls that you're starting to seriously date, with a view to, as is the case with me, of entering into a long-term relationship with them. Just one final note, I'm doing a website. Yes, it's actually going to happen. We're drafting at the moment. That is going to be where I'm going to house the skills-based stuff at one level, but I'm also going to have an extra section for a whole variety of other topics, life topics, but it'll be a fun subsection if you want to dip into it. You know, the brand will be learning about daily approach. But there'll also be a layer of guys who've done courses, who will have access to other materials. Watch this space and watch that website, because I'd like to expand the channel without losing the central focus of learning about dating and approach skills. I'd like to slightly expand the channel to deal with other issues. It's just such a wealth of resources around me and inside me, whether it's from health and fitness to meditation to finances to relocation in a foreign country, even just getting clarity on certain current affair issues. We live in such a strange world, such a changeable, ephemeral world that you know, guys out there perhaps feel a little bit without an anchor, yeah, unanchored from a reality. Going to get a bit spiritual there, you know, in terms of your life and what's important. So that's going to be, you know, an ancillary part of the website. I know there's a lot of guys who segue from approach dating game to, you know, lifestyle businesses and lifestyle channels. Well, I don't want to dilute the core message. I want to refine it and deepen it. But I think that does naturally take you into, you know, other places really about getting your life sorted. And you know, that's why I actually do think it's important, you know, inner game stuff, as it were, to, you know, address core issues about how we wind our way through this adventure, how we navigate through life and find a sense of meaning, purpose, and understanding.